Hi everybody, this is Aarushi and thank you so much for coming back to the channel and deciding to watch a video on Literary Tuesday. So I wasn't able to upload videos since about a month now. A lot of things had been happening and I did not have the right time or the right state of mind to put the video either. So now that I did, I thought why not? So today I'll be reciting a poem that I wrote on the 17th of June this year. And recently we had to submit a project in the English language, which had an aspect of poem too. So I submitted this poem only. So please do not think why I decorated it like this. I am not there are so many writers that I admire so much who like decorate whatever they write, and they either write it in calligraphy in their diaries or something very aesthetic, and they post it on Instagram or other social media sites, and I just love it. I admire it so much, but I'm not the person who can do that. I either write on my Google Docs on the device, or if I write in the diary, it's so messy. I cannot tell you, it's very messy. So the only reason I decorated it is because it had to go for the project. Otherwise, I never. All right, and kudos to the ones who do. So now this particular poem is "Do I Belong?" and it's written on. Okay, I'll not give you my interpretation. I'll first recite it out, and then I'll give, of course, I'll put forward my interpretation of the same. I mean, what I had in mind while writing it. I would request you to first listen to me reciting the poem, and even the whole written part would be there in the pinned comment below, so you can read that there as well. I want you to have your own interpretation of it, and after that go to the part of the video wherein I share my interpretation or what idea I had while writing it down, so that in case somewhere our thoughts clash, so you can provide new ideas in the comment section below. It would be great interaction. So, and in case you don't have the time, so you can skip to that part. I'll provide the whatever the timestamp is in the video right now. Okay, so excuse me. Do I belong? Cigar in one hand, to port the other resorts. A sense of belonging, an oasis of sorts. Alas, I feel empty, a desert, illusion distorts. Vivacious, too many judgmental eyes. A wallflower, arrogance in disguise. Trying and trying, a misfit still, all along. Am I sure if I even belong? Attempt to catch the pace of the changing phrase. Smart, they said. The teen coat, nerd, they jury. Question the norms, an outcast per jury. Conundrum, a loner in the crowd, my identity withdrawn, but still the same question. Do I even belong? Thank you. Now, I like if you have your own interpretation of it and blah blah. Now, I'd like to give what thoughts I had in mind while writing this down. So this poem is basically based on peer pressure. How when you enter a particular age, say about 12, 13, when you are, I mean the puberty, when you're about to start with your teenage or all throughout your teenage, and I'm not sure if it's true for the adults as well because I haven't been through that. But at least for this age, I can vouch for it, that there's a lot of pressure from your peers. Of course, pressure is only as much as you take and stuff. But of course, there is to become a certain person who you are not, a certain type of human being that you're not, to, certain traits are considered cool if you do certain things. And probably those things don't even add to who you are. They, in fact, might sometimes sorry, take away from your identity or your personality. So, and in fact, in some parts of the poem I realized it's not only for the peers. It does not restrict itself, this poem does not restrict itself to the peer pressure. It also talks about the pressure from society in general. So it says, cigar in one hand, to pot the other resorts. So cigar and pot both are drugs, you could say. Cigar is cigarette, and pot is of course another kind of drug that teenagers do. So here this person is is although this poem is written in first person, but that's a way of writing wherein that first person is basically a teenager who wants to write about themselves, himself or herself, which is the case of many teenagers. So that particular person has cigarette in one hand, and in the other hand, that person is deciding to do the pot. I am not sure if that's the terminology, do the pot or whatever. Okay. Cigar, please tell in the comments what it is, because I remember just while speaking, I remembered that in Fault in Our Stars, Hazel Grace's father tells her that you never do pot, or you don't take pot, something like that. Okay, so a sense of belonging and oasis of sorts. So now, after that person has consumed cigarette and done pot, they suddenly feel that, okay, probably I do belong. Now that I did what these people expected out of me, now probably I fit in, I belong here. So he gets or she gets a sense of belonging, but an oasis of sorts. Now, why have I used the word? I'm sorry, there was some disturbance. So I was talking about oasis. So why have I used the word oasis is because of the phenomena of mirage. So for those of you who might not know, mirage is a very common phenomena wherein, like, if we talk about like psychologically, your mind, when you're in a desert, you start feeling that because the one thing that you're lacking is water, you start seeing water at some distance from where you are at that particular moment of time. So you move towards that place in the expectation of getting water, but as you reach that place, you realize that, oh, there wasn't water to begin with. So you feel that there is an oasis there, but it actually does not exist. It's your mind playing games with you. And of course, scientifically, mirage can be explained in different ways, about the shadows, about the sunlight and stuff. Like, even on daily basis, you might face mirage. Like, when on the roads, sometimes you're traveling, you start feeling, when it's on the height, you start feeling that at a particular height there is some water there, and when you reach there, you realize there was not. So I'm not very sure if that can be termed as mirage, but somewhat like that. It's like that. So that's why I've used the word oasis, referring to desert, wherein actually, so basically, that oasis, that mirage is kind of an illusion. So this sense of belonging is actually an illusion. But this teenager right now does not know that. That person will discover it after some point of time. Alas, I feel empty. A desert illusion distorts. So now that that person is alone again, and that person realizes that, oh, no, I probably do not belong. Because when I'm alone, I do not like my own company either. I am feeling empty. I am feeling a void on my inside. It's like a desert. I thought that it was like an oasis, all good and all vibrant, but it's actually a desert, all scattered vegetation basically. So all everything scattered, my feelings are scattered, and it's so lonely. And illusion distorts. So this illusion that I might belong, that I might fit in if I do this particular thing, it actually distorts. It distorts my personality, it distorts my mentality, it distorts my mental state, everything. Now, coming to the next paragraph. Vivacious, too many judgmental eyes, a wallflower, arrogance in disguise. So this is like a satire on the expectations of the people around us, from us. And whenever we try and meet a particular expectation, there'll always be another set of people who will expect us to do something altogether different. And when we switch there, this particular set of group of people would not be very happy. And in this whole process of jumping from here to there, here to there, to, you know, live up to certain kind of expectations that people have from us, we somewhere in the process lose a part of us that was our very essence. So here it says vivacious. So when I'm vivacious, which means very lively, and I talk nicely and I talk to everybody, then there are too many judgmental eyes that, you know, everybody's looking that, you know, so in the teenage, in us, in teenagers, there's a term called wannabe. And or for boys, people have started using simping in a very bad way. So they say that, oh, that person is very is you know, is kind of the life of the party, so that person must be a wannabe. And that boy is talking very nicely and openly to a girl, so he must be a simp, he must be simping over her. So that's like that. If you're vivacious, then there are too many judgmental eyes. And if you're a wallflower, wallflower is, you must have heard this book about this book or this movie, The Perks of Being a Wallflower. So wallflower is basically somebody, you could compare them to an introvert somewhat, who do not talk much, who are like, who rather prefer to be on a corner. Like, there are two types of people in a party. You'll find one is like talking to everybody and life of the party and a party animal and basically vivacious person, and the other is who's just sitting in the corner, who'd like to observe things, or probably even not observe, just not, be very involved. That kind of person at the corner of the room is a wallflower. So when you're vivacious, there are too many judgmental eyes, and when you're a wallflower, you might expect that, okay, now people might accept me, but then people have another interpretation of it, and they say that, oh, that person is very arrogant, he doesn't talk much. The point is that, like the story that we were taught when we were very small, the man who had the donkey and his son, where you cannot make everybody happy, it's like that. Now, trying and trying, a misfit still. So this particular teenager is trying and trying every method possible. This might make me acceptable and this might make me belong, but that person realizes that I'm still a misfit. I still do not belong. I do not fit in. So a misfit still all along. Am I sure if I even belong? So this poem had to begin with the question, with the assertion that I belong. There's a sense of belonging and an oasis of sorts. But then that person, when he's alone, he realizes that probably I'm feeling very empty, so this illusion is distorting me or something. And now the person has reached a stage that, you know what, let me stop and question, do I belong? Do I actually belong? All these things that I've been doing since so long, have they helped me get that sense of belonging or not? Attempt to catch the pace of the changing phrase. So now I've entered the third paragraph, wherein, and this one, by the way, is my personal favorite. Although it's a little too complicated, but I love this because this is so true. I cannot tell you. So this third paragraph is basically based on a lot of things, but mainly centered around nerd shaming. And through nerd shaming, I've tried and explain a few things. Attempt to catch the pace of the changing phrase. Smart, they said, the teen quote, nerd de jure. So now that I'm growing up, I'm trying in catching the pace. I, in the sense, that teenager. The teenager is saying that now that I'm growing up, as I'm becoming a teenager, I'm trying and understand how the things are changing. Like one thing that we used to consider superbly good till the time we were small, suddenly it is something to be shameful about, and something that we thought was shameful now is something very cool. Why is this, change of perception? Why is this change of scenario? And let me clear this thing here. This is not always bad, although this poem is a little negative, a little, you could say, on the pessimistic side, but this is also very good as well, because it's only that we are open to the new opinions and to the new perspectives that we are able to change the mindsets that society has been feeding us since the time we were small. But for now, if we stick to this, here the example is, smart, this said, the teen quote, nerd de jure. So now the teenager says that by the time I was very small, I used to study a lot. I used to be, surrounded with books and everything. I used to get good marks. And the interpretation of the people for the same, and even my peers, was that, oh, that person is very smart. So they called me smart at that time to have read so many books. But now, today that I'm a teenager, in the teen quote, nerd de jure. In the teen quote, by the law, I'll be called a nerd. And that's a shameful term suddenly. So, de jure, basically there are two words, de facto and de jure. They are, I guess they come from the French language or Latin probably, I'm not sure. So, de jure is basically something that is there in the law. De facto is something that's not written anywhere, that's not recorded, but it's like it is taken to be that way. It is like, it's obvious. Like if we say that president has the power, but de facto prime minister does, or something like that. So but de jure is something that is there in the law. All right, it's not it's obviously obvious as well, but it's also written, it's recorded or something. I'm pretty sure I would have complicated things for you. Please go and search for it yourself. So now that person says that when I was small, I was smart to have been surrounded by all the books, and now that I am becoming a teenager, people have started thinking that I am a nerd. In the court of teenagers, I am a nerd. De jure, by law. That is decided, of course, by the court of teenagers. Now, question the norms, an outcast per jury. So now that person says that if you question the norms that have been existing there, like a lot of things are there, like say, yeah, the most relevant example that I can think of is that when we become a teenager, there's a very there's like a culture, there's a fashion of making fun of your teachers, and it's like a culture, it is like a norm that you have to make fun of your teachers to be considered cool. But probably there are some teachers whom you respect so much that you cannot not take um, you know unnecessary hate towards them from anybody. At that time, if you go and question them that, listen, why are you doing this? Like, that teacher did not even do this or something like that. Then you're an outcast. Behind your back, they'll be gossiping about you that, oh, that person comes and talks like she's very mature or he's very mature and something like that. So you just learn over time that, okay, I should probably just not be a part of it. I can stay quiet, not be a part of it, but I do not have to question it either. Which is, of course, a wrong way, but then that is how now the society works. So, but if you go on to question the norms, you will be an outcast per jury. So, per jury is basically somebody who gives a false witness. Now, say there's a case going on and there are A and B people, and B is at fault, and I go ahead and I give a false witness that, I give a false witness that I was with B at that particular point of time when that crime happened, and later on, it is revealed that no, actually B was the one behind that crime. Then I, in that case, become a perjury because I gave the wrong witness for the wrong person, right? So that's a perjury. So if you question the norms, you are an outcast, you're a perjury because you're questioning the wrong things for the wrong reason as per them. Conundrums. The conundrum is basically a lot of confusion. You're left with a lot of questions, right? So that is conundrum. A loner in the crowd. So when you think differently, a lot of times you feel that probably I do not belong. You probably, it's not about feeling that I'm smarter than the other people. It's about feeling that I'm different than the other people and not knowing whether that different is the right kind of different or the wrong kind of different. What is it? So it's a lot of conundrum, it's confusion, and you're puzzled and you have questions in your mind. Probably I should just fit in or should I stand out? You don't know about that. And so, a loner in the crowd, my identity withdrawn, because if that teenager has to, say, mingle up with the people around, then he has to do certain things, he has to acquire certain traits which do not necessarily represent his personality or his identity. So his identity is kinda withdrawn, and but still the same question, do I even belong? So this poem had begun with the assertion that I do belong. There's a sense of belonging, it's as vibrant as an oasis, but then that person realizes that probably it's an illusion. In the second paragraph, he questions himself that am I sure if I even belong? And in the third paragraph, there's still the same doubt. There's still the same question, do I even belong? But this time, it's an even more stronger question. Earlier, it was assertion, then it was about surety, am I sure? And now it is, do I even belong? Probably I do not, or something like that. And even though excuse me, the whole video I've been talking about teenagers, I do feel it's so true for society in general. It's not only about our peers, it's about society in general, because there are a lot of expectations out of you. They expect you to be mature, and when you talk about certain things, they term you certain things like an old soul or something. And even if it's meant to be like a joke, sometimes it does get on to you that, okay, what do you want out of me? So, or something like, sometimes it gets very irritating to say the appropriate word. It's irritating and it's annoying. So, of course, it's not that I will say that I have not gone through anything of this sort, I've just written it. No, it is about observation, but also it's about experience. That a lot of things when you become a teenager, I am 17 right now. So you do realize that a lot of things have changed from the time you were a child, and of course it does change, that's the law of nature, but a lot of things you do not feel very comfortable with. So that is what this poem represented. I was about to add a paragraph that was solely for society, how the society messes things up too, but then I thought that probably I'll just write either another poem about it with 2 3 paragraphs, or I'll try and sum it up in a quote or something. So let's see what about that, let's see about that. And thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did have the time to go in the comment section and have your own interpretation and then see mine. And so in case anything is different, please do write in the comment section below. And of course, the length, I'm pretty sure this video would be very long. But of course, if I'm putting after about a month, so that is my punishment, and probably punishment to you as well for no reason at all. But okay, sorry. Yeah, but if you've stuck around till this time, thank you so much for watching this video. It really means a lot to me. And yeah, like, share, subscribe. Do write your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you so much. Take care. Love, love. Bye bye.